I grew up campaigning since as long as I can remember. My first job was with Bob Graham. I loved politics since the day I met Janet Reno, and I knew that what I wanted to be was a politician. So I've always loved policy and went to law school with a desire to do policy later on. And what was interesting for me is when my father ran for mayor, I did his campaign, and at the same time, my mother passed away and I got divorced. I was 33 at the time and I had two small children. Isabella, 6, had just been diagnosed with autism. And I was talking to my dad about how frustrated I was about the school system. And sitting at Maria's Greek restaurant, he said, "Why don't you run?" So I ran. And at the time, people were like, "Well, what are you doing running? You have these two small children." I had a 6-year-old and a 4-year-old at the time. Everyone told me you should wait, raise your children, and after your children go off to college, then you can do this politics thing because you can't be a mom and be a politician, which I disagreed with, even at the school board, which, by the way, we have to say is one of the few places where people tolerate female leaders, right? It's one of the first places where women can go and take that first step. In this county race, you know, I think it's great that women that are retired run, and I think they should have a seat at the table, but I think you also need younger women. I'm 45, turning 46, that have a different perspective, because the reason that I'm running for the county seat is because adults with disabilities don't have jobs. I'm worried about our economy. I'm worried about my children's ability to live in Miami-Dade County. I'm a native Miamian. My kids are priced out of this market. We have an income gap issue. So women make less and we'll move because we're like, well, if I go to Jacksonville and I make 60,000, I can buy a house. If I live in Miami and I make 60,000, I'm gonna live in an efficiency. So it's a very different world, and a lot of women don't wanna live at home. They wanna have their own place and make their own decisions. And I think it's important to have that voice at the table also. The thing that I want the girls that are watching this to know is there is never a perfect time to run. Women are always waiting for a perfect time to run. Men wake up, they put on their pants, they totally unprepared, and they run for office. And the same thing with jobs. That's why we don't get ahead in terms of our professions either, because we won't ask for that raise. We won't demand our place at the table because we always think we need a little bit more time to be qualified. And last thing, we have a tendency to ask other women, and I love other women, but other women are the first ones to talk us out of running. And I have to say this because every time I've tried to talk wonderful women into running, they tell me that they're afraid of losing their privacy. They don't want to be criticized. They don't want negative campaigns. They don't want their kids to see that on Google. As someone who's been attacked 1,000,001 times, I will tell you, your kids are going to be so proud of you. They're going to tell everyone that their mom is a badass and that her mom gets things done. So don't let that stop you. Run, run, run.